Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rich Batts and this is my ACTE 699 Module 5 recording, and my topic was on surveys. So to answer question 1, kind of what is a survey and kind of different aspects about it. So from the readings, both the other chapter that was provided and in the textbook, I came up with kind of 3 different aspects of surveys, or 3 different types of surveys. The first would be the questionnaires. And these questionnaires are similar to interviews. However, these participants will write out the response. So this is kind of nice because you can do large scale amounts at once instead of interviews where you have to individually interview them one-on-one. Questionnaires, you can pass out a bunch and have them to bring them back, but we'll get back into pros and cons, or strengths and weaknesses, in a moment. Excuse me. The second one would be the attitude test. So there was a Likert test, Likert scales rather, in the text that I saw, and that asked students to respond to different statements indicating if they agree or disagree, and then each response has a point value, and then that can be analyzed to say the average score was a 4.2 for this activity, something along those lines. It can also be used a semantic differential, which is similar. However, they're providing a quantitative rating to the subject of the rating scale to a number of bipolar objectives. So basically what the difference is between them, the semantic one is asking you, if something was boring or exciting, and then you chose, between -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, or 3. Correlating with -3 being boring and 3 being exciting. And then as you continue down, saying if it was irrelevant or enjoyable, or if it was totally irrelevant or totally enjoyable. So you're getting kind of that opinion-based feedback off of how the lesson went or how the activity was. So that's semantic. And then the Likert scales is if you strongly agree or disagree on the particular statement that was being said. Question 2, is it a qualitative or quantitative technique? What type of questions would this technique best answer? So questionnaires and attitude tests were qualitative and quantitative. Questionnaires, I think, could have fallen under either category. However, due to their open-endedness of their question, that I made them more qualitative rather than quantitative. So they're opinion-based and they may require further investigation. You might be reading some responses that you weren't anticipating and maybe want to dig a little deeper. Then you would have to go back into the qualitative technique of interviews and trying to get to the root of their answer. The attitude tests, those were quantitative based, so they're based on a number scale for each response. And then the best questions for the attitude test is kind of the opinion and feedback questions. So the one that was given in the book was, I believe that problem solving skills in I learn in class help me make good decisions outside of school. And down there you can see kind of the scale of how it would work. You would have strongly agree to undecided or neutral, and then disagree and strongly disagree. And as it goes down, notice right below it, the point value for each goes down. So students fill this out. You can then take their answers and analyze it and say if the average answer was a 3.4, you would know most of your class was between undecided and they would agree. So maybe, revamp it a little bit because you want to more or less be in that agree or strongly agree range. So that's kind of where that goes with the attitude tests. So basically, to sum it up, questionnaires, qualitative based, and then attitude tests are quantitative based. Question 3, what are some strengths in this data collection technique? What are some weaknesses? So some of the strengths that I found was that you get immediate feedback. So with the interviews, it takes a little bit longer. Same with some other kind of data techniques, data collection techniques. However, with surveys, you can kind of get that immediate feedback. You do still have to analyze the data, but it's much quicker as opposed to other forms. You can also conduct large-scale data collection easily, meaning if it's a questionnaire or if it's a Likert survey, whatever it might be, you can give out large scales of them at once, and then as you get them back, be analyzing the data. Things such as interviews, you're now going one-on-one with someone, and then you have to switch and go to someone else, and it's going to take much longer as opposed to a survey. And then finally, another strength was access to online survey tools that help collect the data and to help analyze it too. So you can have SurveyMonkey was one that they gave in the text, along with Zoomerang and Lime Survey. Those are all aspects that can help you to collect the data and have students do the surveys right online, and then it can analyze it for you. Some weaknesses that I found may require further investigation. So even with your questionnaires or with your surveys, you may need to go back and get more information and do that interview to kind of get to the root of what they were trying to talk about or what they were trying to get to in that questionnaire. Questionnaires might become lengthy, so they're open-ended based, so you want to make sure that you're not having a participant writing for an hour and a half about your feedback, because then that's going to, as it says in the textbook, it's going to end up in the round bin instead of in your hands, which is trash can. So questionnaires, you want to make sure that you're fully aware of the time it's going to take them to complete it, and then again the time it's going to take you to analyze it afterwards. And my final weakness was the non-cooperative participants. So if you give them the survey, they might just go through and select disagree or agree depending on how they feel that day, or a couple of each, maybe some neutrals. So you might not be getting actual accurate feedback with those. Questionnaire, you would probably get more accurate feedback, and this kind of correlates back into my validity that I'll talk about in a moment. However, those were the weaknesses that I kind of spotted with the surveys and questionnaires. And then finally, question 4, what concerns do you have about this data collection technique from a validity, reliability, and or ethical perspective? So validity, like I said, students won't take it serious, so they might select any answer just to get it done. So then you're not really getting true, valid feedback. It's more or less just random answers. So like I said, on how the lesson activity went, it doesn't show you if it was effective, is another reason. So these surveys that can get this feedback on what they thought of the lesson, but it doesn't show how effective it was. So using test scores or quiz scores or things along that nature will show how effective the lesson was, which these type of surveys wouldn't be able to do. Which kind of throws the validity off, because students might have enjoyed it, but it might not have helped them at all. I'm sure all my students would enjoy sitting here eating candy, but I don't think that would help make an effective lesson. And then reliability, may not be considered consistent due to students providing random answers, may change based on the level of students. So, like I said, you might have some students that aren't truly participating. That might throw off the reliability of it. And you might not be getting consistent answers from class to class based on the level of students. One activity might work very well with one level of students and not so well with another level of students. We're all educators, so we all know that each class is completely different from the previous. So these type of surveys may not have the same results, the same reliability as previous ones. And I couldn't think of or find any ethical perspective concerns. Obviously, taking a survey, you don't want to, dabble into those ethical, religious, those sort of aspects where it's going to be, kind of controversial depending on which way you look at it. So that was my presentation on surveys. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I look forward to listening to all of yours, and enjoy the rest of your day.